guys and girls, so welcome back to another COVID video. I had a couple of people ask me questions about what was going on, what symptoms I had, and how it affects people with like me, as I have like various other long-term illness problems, health problems. So I thought I'd make a video about like my COVID, because my COVID was very different to like what I was expecting COVID to be like when I read the brochure. And yeah, so I thought I'd just go through it and give a bit of explanation as to why I disappeared, basically. I still have COVID right now. Technically I should only have it till midnight now, according to the NHS app. And it only says I need to self-isolate for one more day. And if I was like symptom free, that would mean like by midnight tonight I could then just like go off into the world as normal. But I'm not quite there yet, so Mike has to self-isolate anyway, so yeah. I'll start from the beginning. Basically, working in schools, we are in quite like a high danger zone because we're not really allowed PPE at all. I've obviously got like 30 kids in my class, so I have all 30 of those children around me all day. And they're coming from like 30 different families, and some of them have like separate, like 2 families at home, like their mum's side and their dad's side. So like you're opening up to quite a large amount of people. Someone who works in my school ironically caught COVID from outside of the school. They didn't have any symptoms or anything like that, so it was kind of by chance that we found out that they had COVID, because they just thought, right, I'm gonna get a test because loads of people I know have it. And honestly, if they hadn't have done that test, I don't know if I would have known as quickly that there was something up. So they went for their test. They came in on the Monday, then they found out that some people had COVID, so they went and got a test on the Thursday. And then on the Friday afterwards was when I started to get some symptoms. So I obviously spent like nearly a whole week around this person. And I think that's probably where I got it from, because we hadn't really done anything else. Outside of school, I wear like a mask all the time. I like washing my hands all the time. I'm like super on it all the time. But at school, we're just not allowed to have PPE. So like that's just out of my control, which is annoying. There are some steps I could have taken. I could have like eaten my lunch like in a separate room to everyone else, but I just didn't, and that's kind of on me. But like it's odd because when you're at school you feel like you're in like a separate bubble, like you're away from you, like you're invincible, which turns out I'm not. So yeah, everything like externally I do exactly how I'm told, and at school I'm told not to wear PPE, so that is what I do. Since then we now do wear PPE, like we wear face masks at the end of the day when the parents do collect, but in my opinion like we're around the kids anyway all day. So anyway, so on the Friday I noticed a little bit of an ear infection. I think actually Thursday night, Friday, I noticed I had an ear infection. I tend to get ear infections as soon as anything is going wrong in life, like literally down to like just if I have high anxiety, like when I was going through my exams when I was younger, ear infection, like I get an ear infection when anything high anxiety, like when we made the offer on our house that we're hopefully moving into soon, I got an ear infection while I was like waiting to find out what was gonna happen. And then as soon as like that problem goes, my ear infection goes. But I had an ear infection, and I felt kind of a bit like stuffed up around my sinuses. Now I will mention someone else at school who I'm in the same bubble with has a cold. So I was like, right, I think I've caught their cold. Fantastic. But as soon as I found out that the other person I worked with who had COVID, they tested positive, I was like, hang on, is a cold a symptom? And I thought, do you know what, just to be extra safe, extra cautious, and like bear in mind my only symptoms at this point is an ear infection and a stuffy nose, I thought I'm gonna go for one. I'm gonna go for a test. So me and Mike booked a test for the Sunday. So a week ago today we booked a test for just kind of as a precaution. I had been around my parents, and obviously Mike had been to his work, and I was just like, oh, I just, better safe than sorry. I've done 3 tests already. I know what it entails. I hadn't done a drive-in test before. The drive-in test was really good. It was really like smooth. We booked it up the day before. We booked it on the Saturday, went on the Sunday, stayed in our car the whole time. We literally just got there. They took our details through the window and they held up a phone number which we called. And then when you call the phone number, they tell you what to do. So we called the number and they were just like, what's all this blue flashing light outside? The police coming. Yeah, they gave us a number which we called, and they just like explained like, we're gonna give you the test through the window, like just put your hazard lights on if you're stuck. I've done the test before, so literally just follow the instructions, basically take it out, swab the back way like of your throat, and then up your nose with the same stuff. It is gross, it is horrible, but it's definitely better than it was. Okay, hello Tiddles. I see that you've been somewhere. Nice to see you. Are you okay? Are you coming up here?
Come here.
Are you coming up? Are you coming up here? Good girl. What are you doing? You having a sleep? The tests are better. They used to be like really scratchy and like thick, the little swabs, but now they're like tiny and soft. So if you're getting a test now, it's better than it was back in June, I can tell you that. So we went and got a test, and then we both me and Mike felt really anxious. I started to get like I have IBS, is one of my problems that I have anyway. I started to get really bad like flare-ups with my IBS, and I do get that when I'm generally like anxious. So I thought it probably was quite a lot down to the anxiety of waiting to hear back the results. So we got the test done on Sunday, so I went to work on Monday. I did like check with school and they told me like I could still come in. I did wear a mask even though I wasn't meant to because I had like a full-blown cold at that point, and I thought, do you know what, I'll wear a mask because if anything I'm stopping people from getting my cold, but if I do have COVID then I'm stopping people from getting COVID as well. So I wore a mask, and I started to notice when I was like shouting at the children, like calling for them to sit down, I'd take in a big breath and be like, oh class, can you come and sit down? But every time I breathed in, like my whole chest would hurt, and it was getting like worse and worse through the day. When I was like, for example, when they all come in for lunch and they're all like taking off their welly boots and their coats and stuff, I have to call them in like quite a lot. So when I was like calling them in, come on, come in, like when I was calling them for like more than one call, if that makes sense, I was like, I can't get enough oxygen in my lungs, and then my head started feeling this like really fuzzy feeling, and I just thought, do you know what, I just need to sit down. So I felt a bit weird when I was like projecting my voice at school, but like other than that it still was just more of like a head cold, but like I kind of knew in myself there wasn't something right, but like at that point it could have just been a cold, if you see what I mean. It wasn't bad enough that like after school I rushed home. I literally after school carried on, got some work done, got some planning done. I think I stayed till 5:30, maybe 6 at a push, and I felt okay. I just felt like I had a cold, really. And then, you right, Tiddles? You okay? You're so right. And mixed in with this, on Monday, I started to get like the loss of taste symptom. But it was really weird because I woke up and had a drink out of my water bottle, and I have strawberry flavoured water in it, and it just tastes like regular water. And I was like, because I knew I put regular water in it at some point. I was like, have I just not put any new like strawberry water in there? So I just, because I took a cold and flu tablet, and I took the swig of this water, and I was like, oh, well, it just tastes like normal water. Like, oh, I hope that's not a symptom. And then I went to school and I had my cinnamon flavoured cereal, which is like really sugary, and I just couldn't taste it. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I got to the milk and it just tasted like water. So Monday morning I felt the anxiety again. But then by lunchtime on Monday, I could taste like my crisps, I could taste like cake, I could taste cheese and jacket potato. Like I could taste all of my lunch, and I could taste my dinner when I got home. And then it wasn't until like later that evening, so late on Monday night, I had like a can of Pepsi and it tasted like water. And I said to Mike, oh, I'm losing my taste. But like he had said he'd had similar at work, and we thought perhaps it was like psychological because it went and then it came back again. And Mike was drinking cider, so I tried some of his cider and it literally tasted like nothing, and I hate cider. And I was just like, I can't taste it. Like normally I'd be here like, what is this taste? But instead I just drank it and didn't taste anything. So I obviously was like, okay, obviously I'm either psychologically getting symptoms, I have COVID, or these are symptoms related to my cold. And then Monday night, like all through the night, I had really bad IBS, like really bad tummy problems, like so painful. I was having Tums and painkillers, like everything, trying to get rid of it. I didn't sleep well at all, and then when I did wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock and looked at my phone, I saw that I got the test results through, and I always seem to get my results at 6 o'clock in the morning. All 3 times I've got them come through at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I was kind of expecting to see them at 6 o'clock. The thing is, this time I got 2 messages, whereas normally I just get the 1 message and it says, yo, you're negative, like, enjoy your life. But this time I had 2 and I was really confused. So I tried to open it, and what it did is it like zoomed all the way up to my first ever message from NHS COVID, which said I was negative. So I was like, oh good, I'm negative. But then I was like, why have they sent me so many messages? And it wasn't until I scrolled down I realised I'd read my message from June, and when I got to the one from today, sure enough, it literally just said like, don't panic. And I was like, oh, here we go. That you're positive. And I was like, fab. And then like, as it went down, it just basically said like, you are now by law, by law you now have to isolate for 10 days. So I at that point had a mental breakdown, didn't know what to do. I called Mike, who luckily had only just left for work, so he was able to like turn around and come back. But when Mike checked his messages, he was negative. So I tested positive and he tested negative, even though like we've been in the same space, breathing the same air, eating the same food and drinks, sharing drinks, etc. Which is really weird that he came out fine, but I wasn't. So obviously then I had to call my parents, who then had to book tests. We had to tell Mike's parents, who they had to book tests. And I just didn't, like, my whole world was just all over the place. I had to call work. So straight away my class was shut down, like my kids had to go home. And then like all the track and tracings began. So first off I got a text for track and trace that had like a link on it, and when you go on the link it asks you like all your personal info like they want to know everything, and then they ask who you've been in contact with. So I obviously listed the person who I already knew who had COVID, and also one of the other staff members who I spent like a lot of time with on Monday, because I like often we do our like marking together and our planning together and stuff, so and I'd spent like Wednesday morning with them, so I don't know how long ago it had to be, if that makes sense. But how long ago I had it. I knew how long I had to track and I had to basically track and trace for the whole week before. So basically I track and traced the person who I knew already had it, and the person who I spent loads of time with at school. But the way the track and trace system works is it like beeps off of like other phones, and then there's another thing. If you have an iPhone, and like not everyone knows this, but if you go to your iPhone, if you go to your iPhone and unlock it, as I apparently can't, if you go to your settings and then scroll down, like halfway down, there's like an actual like COVID thing installed called exposure notifications, and that, when you update your phone, automatically goes on there active. If you don't want to be track and traced, like make sure this is off. But I had mine on just because I would like to know something, and mine's active. And on here it's really odd, like obviously it doesn't say anything for the last few days because I've not gone anywhere, but if you go into it, you can like see all the people you have like walked past and your phone's like beeped off of, and it doesn't tell you who they are, it just shows that your phone has like connected with another phone. So some other people getting track and traced, obviously Mike and his family got track and traced, and my parents did as well, and then Mike's friend who he works with, Rob, got track and traced because he was with us on Saturday. So yeah, I had all of that going on, and luckily I get a rubbish signal at Mike's house, so I only got one phone, well I got two phone calls. I got one phone call which was pretty simple, again around track and trace. The other phone call I got, I think I got cursed or blessed, because it was like in a different language. There was like a bell ringing and I don't understand what it says, but it sounded odd. It sounded like someone had called me in the middle of like a ritual, and they said the same thing like 3 times and hung up on me, so that was just interesting. Thank you, whoever that was. So yeah, there was like track and trace in 3 different places, and then it kind of popped through to the NHS app and it like all links itself up. It took a little while to link up, but it all does. And then that's when it gave me like my little countdown of 10 days, which I'm now down to day 1. Mike's is a bit longer, so because even though he is negative, he had to self-isolate with me because he's been exposed to me, and so did the whole family. And they have to self-isolate for 14 days from my first symptom, which was on Friday, Thursday, Friday. So theirs is like 4 days longer than mine. And then from like Tuesday, Wednesday is when like my symptoms kind of got worse. So my main problem really was my breathing. It's generally like, touch wood, been okay, like when I'm not doing anything, like I'm just sat there doing nothing. But as soon as I like moved around, the only way I could describe it is if like when I went to bed, someone poured concrete down my lungs and like it all settled at the bottom. Because like, if like this is your lungs, like normally you'd breathe in and it'd like fill like all the way up, like all the way up. But when like at my worst, it felt like it was just doing this, like it just like wasn't filling up properly. It literally got worse like each day. The only thing that sort of helped was having a shower, or like doing nothing, which is why I just disappeared off of everything, because I just was doing nothing. I was still able to like do schoolwork and reply to like all the kids, like they all were emailing me, but like it would take it out of me, and I'm still like so tired. Like this morning, woke up at 11 o'clock, went downstairs, had like brunch, and then I came upstairs and literally fell asleep for another hour. Like I feel better in myself, like I can do stuff, like I can film this video, but I feel like after I've done this I'm gonna be dead. Like I'm gone for the rest of the evening, although we do have dinner, so that'll probably like perk me up a bit. But what, you'd think that like with all the sleeping and all the napping I wouldn't be tired at night, but that is not the, like it is exhausting. Like trying to breathe is exhausting, and I'm having to like nap for more than I am awake just to kind of like get through life. As for my IBS, it has like been quite bad the whole time, so if you are someone with IBS, like be aware that that's also going to be like a major factor in like if you get coronavirus. So like it's just inconsistent really, like it hurt, like stomach spasms not so much, but just like the whole, like my whole digestive system is shot. My ear infection did go as soon, like pretty much as soon as I got the results. I think my ear infection was anxiety based, but then it came back the other night, which was great. I find nighttime is my hardest time to breathe. The night before last was the point where I was like, I had to wake my car because I just couldn't breathe. I just didn't know what to do. Pardon?
And I did nothing and went back to bed.
And Mike did nothing and went back to bed.
I reassured you. That's all that counts. Sometimes you just need support.
But like, I was like reading online, like there's no point going to the hospital unless you can't speak, and I could like speak, so I was okay enough to stay at home. Which to be fair, I'm glad I didn't go to the hospital in the end, because I would have felt like a bit of an idiot, like waking up today and feeling okay. But like I found at night, if I'm cold, like I was going to bed like in my pajama trousers and everything, but I found if I take those off at night time and I'm a bit cold at night time, I seem to sleep a bit better. I do also have my own duvet now as well, so I can just like regulate my heat a lot better, because like Mike, bless him, always steals the duvet. Truth. And so I find it really hard to regulate my heat at night.
I steal the duvet, you steal mattress space.
But now I have my own duvet, I can just regulate my own self.
And keep on stealing the mattress space.
And so, nighttime's definitely the worst time. I also do have like vitamin D deficiency, but I don't know really how much that's played on it. I did find, well, Mike found when we were clearing out, like literally on like last weekend, this one vitamin D booster tablet that I'd forgotten to take, and so I just took it. So I'm not sure if perhaps that saved my bacon a little bit, because I had suddenly like a big boost in vitamin D. My back and my ribs really hurt, but could be vitamin D deficiency, could just be COVID being annoying. But like I'd say on the vitamin D side, that's not affected me too much, but I'm really on it when it comes to taking my vitamin D supplement, so hopefully that is okay. But really that's kind of been my main symptoms. I've still just like feel stuffed up here. Oh, and smell, and I can't smell anything. I couldn't taste anything to begin with. I lost my taste completely, and I lost my smell completely by Wednesday. And that was like the worst thing, because like for me, I'm like a super food orientated human, and like when I feel bad, I like to make myself feel better by having something nice to eat, and I couldn't taste anything or smell anything. But it got to the point where I was having sour sweets, and I knew they should be sour, but I was like putting them right in my mouth. I couldn't taste a thing, couldn't smell a thing. But then as I swallowed, I did that like shivery like reflex you get when you eat something sour. So I knew that like there was still something going on, but it wasn't translating. So my taste really slowly came back. I'd say it's like fully back now, but my smell is still completely gone. Like Mike uses a really strong shower gel, and normally like when I use it as well, it like wafts all up my nose, but I like put his shower gel like right up to my nose and I can't smell it. And yesterday was the first day when I put like toothpaste right up to my nose, and I could like, when I really breathed in, I could smell like the tiniest bit of toothpaste. But I'm not sure if that's because I could like potentially taste it, if you know what I mean. But my smell is still pretty much gone, but my taste is back, so that's something. So I definitely feel like I'm coming out the other side of it. My breathing feels better. I've had the energy to at least like sit down today and make a video, which is something. But I'm still like far way off of being back to normal. My lungs, right, they've definitely improved. My lungs have definitely improved because I can now like go up and downstairs without literally passing out and feeling dizzy, which I was getting. And I feel like there's more room in them. Like I can breathe in more air than I could do, which is positive, but I am still just so exhausted. I'm so tired. I think probably the way it's looking is like my breathing will get back to normal. Hopefully my smell will come back, and then it will just be a case of like getting out of like being so tired all the time. But honestly, like I kind of just wanted to make this video like to tell people that it's not a cold, because I think obviously it affects people differently, and the person at my work who has it, he like has no symptoms really other than being tired. But like, what?
You said he got hot randomly and then...
Oh yeah, he got hot. But like, I think it's one of those things where like obviously some people can play it off as just being like a cold, or just being like, oh, I just don't feel right. And some people say like it doesn't really affect them, but from someone who it like literally wiped me out for half this week, or the whole week, kind of has put a new perspective. Like my lungs are relatively okay. I'm not like the healthiest lunged person, but they're not horrific. And like it really like has knocked me out, so like I can understand fully and I sympathize fully with anyone who has like pre-existing illnesses around their lungs and breathing and stuff. Like this would literally, I can see why you could end up in hospital with it. But I feel like at least I can make a video now, so I'm definitely like on the mend. Like thank you for all your nice messages and stuff. We've had some good news on like the house, so like I will make another one of those videos somewhere, and I'm still like stuck at home for a while, so yeah, that's fun. But yeah, just keep washing your hands, wearing a mask. Like I stand by the fact everything I did outside of work I've done to what I've been told to do. If it wasn't for like the rules that are within schools, I don't think I would have caught COVID. But like, I survived COVID 2020, I hope. Let's not jinx it. But yeah, I hope all of you guys are safe, and I really do not wish this on anyone. It is like the most exhausting, painful, scary thing that I think I've had in my whole life. Like it is worse than food poisoning, and food poisoning was like the worst thing that happened to me in my life. So yes, I wish this on no one. I hope that you all stay safe. Just follow like whatever regulations you are told in whatever country you are in, and I hope that if you do have it, or if you do catch it, that you come through relatively unscathed. And fingers crossed I get my smell back, because life without smell is so boring. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions or comments, please put them down below. If it's anywhere you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade, especially if you're allowed outside, because I'm so jealous of you. And I will see you next time. Bye!